What's good, guys? Mr. back here again, and today I'm gonna give you the football breakdown. This is just me recapping the Confederations Cup with the final yesterday, and to what's happened in the tournament in general, and to the players stood out in the tournament. So yeah, guys, I'm just gonna start off with saying this, but Germany is gonna be, well, they already are like the best team in the world, but the other 21s, the senior team, the under 19s, the under 20s, the under 18s, like, they are all really good. Like the senior team squad depth is really ridiculous. They've got every position that covered down with an exceptional player, and the way that they won this this tournament as well, without even their first team, they won it with their third team. There was no Mats Hummels, no Jerome Boateng, no Manu Neuer, no Mesut Ozil, no Marco Reus, no Thomas Muller, no Andrew Schürrle. Yeah, and they just made it look easy, and they just beat the crap out of Chile, and Chile is a really good team. They're not like supposed to be slept on, because they've beaten Portugal, Argentina twice, you know, and they've got really top class players like Arturo Vidal, Alexis Sanchez. I'm not gonna mention Claudio Brovy's. I'm not gonna mention Claudio Brovy's name for sure. They've got Eduardo Vargas as well, and yeah, Germany they just beat them just easily. But it actually shows like how good Germany are, and to how mature like the younger players are, and to what like to what these 22, 21-year-olds can actually like have the balls to actually step up and take on that big role and actually win a trophy like the Confederations Cup. You know, it's not a joke of a trophy. You know, it's actually a pretty big deal in an international cup. But anyway, yeah. So they beat them, and the Germany under 21 team as well. They won the Euros against Spain, and Spain has a very good young players as well. They've got like Marco Asensio, Hector Bellerin, Saúl Ñíguez, Koke, you know, and they beat this team very easily, just very convincingly as well. But I don't know what else to say about the German national team. You know, they're just ridiculous. There's also been a thing that got introduced, the video assistant referee. So it's basically like there's 3 referees, right? But they're all from like different countries, and they watch the screen. So they watch a football match on the screen, and they tell the referee like they tell the first official who's on the pitch to what's happened to the things it's not seen. So if there's an offside, they'll replay that theory, and the first official will go to see the playback of the offside, and he's gonna call if an offside or not. For me, like this thing is pretty decent, because it can actually go against for your team, it can go for your team. Like for instance, when like Man United, there's Henrik Mkhitaryan, he scores an onside goal, but the referee like rules off as offside. You can actually go back and actually look at it to see if it's actually a goal or not. If it is, if it is an offside, he's going to give it offside. But if it's not offside, then he rule as not offside and give it as a goal. And sometimes it can go against this, like if someone scores like a header but using their hand and to score, and the referee like plays it back, he'll look at it and he'll say no, that's a handball, and you're gonna get a booking for that, and he's gonna cancel out the goal as well. So it goes both ways against your team. But there was one time where in this competition where Germany was playing Cameroon, and the right back for Cameroon, he literally like he did like a dangerous tackle on Demirbay. I can't say his name right, but he's like a German centre midfielder, and he actually did a really bad tackle on him. And so the referee, he was like, hey, let me go check out the replay. He goes there and checks out the replay, right? And he gives a yellow card to the wrong person, to number 15 instead of number 2. I was like, what? So he looks at the replay again, and he goes, no, that's wrong. He gives a red card to the wrong person again, and the entire people were like, what's going on here? Like, you've looked at the screen twice, right? And you've given this guy, the wrong guy, a red card. Well, we meant to give this guy a red card. So he looks at it again, and he gives the right guy the red card, but he cancelled out the red card he gave to that person. So like it, it like goes against what this thing is trying to do in the game. And there's 3 like referees from different countries as well. They're all like a Japanese like referee, Colombian referee, and a German referee, right? And they all speak separate languages, so they can't understand each other, and there's a bit like miscommunication with it as well. So they should get like referees that can speak like at least like English as well, like very well to a standard, or at least like the same language, so they can hear each other better and not have miscommunication. So there's plenty of that still in progress, and that still needs to be done as well. But I see what if you were trying to get to this, and like football's it keeps on being evolutionized. So like it's gonna get more like techie now. We've got like goal line technology. We've got like this spray thing. So yeah, this thing is inevitable, and it's actually coming in into football, in the Premier League, or like into all football basically. But I'm going to talk about the players that stood out in the tournament. It's going to be Goretzka. He stood out a lot for me. Like I thought this guy was a Polish guy, but it turns out he's German, and I think he plays for Schalke. But every time I've seen him play, he's always been scoring. So yeah, for me he stood out. Vidal and Alexis Sanchez. What else can be said about them? They always play at a high intensity, which I like. For them, and they always like they always take Chile far in every tournament. Julian Draxler, he's always like making like every player look stupid by the way he was playing. Even like his assist against Cameroon, like Germany against Cameroon, they're having a bad time, and Julian Draxler actually manages to like pull off one certain skill of brilliance, and actually to actually assist Demar by with the goal. So he also stood out as well. I'm not going to mention Cristiano Ronaldo in this, because if Ronaldo disappears from the game, Portugal disappears from the game. So Ronaldo is Portugal, so I'm not going to mention him as well. And they made him. I don't know why you'd make your best player take a penalty last, which is pretty stupid. They always do this in every tournament. They always make Ronaldo take the penalty last. I don't know why. Maybe he wants all the glory, but yeah, I'm not gonna say he stood out. But he scored some goals, but that's due to the Portuguese player just passing the ball every time. So I'm not gonna mention him. Australia didn't have any players that stood out. I like Tom Roderick. I've been watching Tom Roderick since the Nike Academy, and he's going to get better. New Zealand, they should stick to playing rugby because the football team's not good enough. Cameroon, they're only good in Africa, as me as an African as well. Like it's pretty disappointing seeing that, but they're only good in Africa. They're only good in Africa, and then if they just leave African players to play with the teams in different places, they're just not good enough. Russia, they're missing a lot of their players, some of their players, not a lot of them. The one that the guy who they were missing a lot was Artem Zuba. For sure they missed him a lot, but they had Igor Akinfeev, who's also a decent goalkeeper, but he can't do everything for the team. You know, the Russian players need to take more control of that. When they were playing against, I think it was Portugal, they were so defensive that they had like at least like 7 men behind the ball, you know, which which if you're a home team and you're playing defensively, it doesn't look that good to the fans. The fans want to see your team actually trying and actually fighting, because you're the home team, and you're meant to be like up for it. But yeah, guys, the Confederations Cup, a lot of people didn't watch it. They actually slept in it. It wasn't that much of a buzz like it was like in Brazil like a few years ago. It was a pretty decent tournament, the big teams took a charge from the get-go, and Germany hit the ground running in that. And yeah, it was either going to be Germany so for me, like, when I thought of it, it's going to be like Germany versus somebody in the final, like Portugal or Chile. Like that's what I thought as well. But yeah, that was a Confederations Cup breakdown, guys. Subscribe to my channel, show some support, and we'll be bringing out more football breakdowns as well for the Premier League, and maybe sometimes the La Liga as well. And we're bringing out some anime breakdown as well, guys. And follow me on Instagram at Preston_23. Follow me on Twitter at Preston23. And yeah, Preston signing out. Peace.
Lean by the water, perk pill popper, put a bit fathers on pills. I'm on that drink.